It's time to start handing out fines to people who refuse to wear masks. Is it fair to say that the guy in that picture is an idiot? Yup, and Louis Gohmert's staff should be able to sue the fuck out of him, or his estate if things go totally horrible for him. Imagine how the anti-maskers will react considering that people have already been shot and beaten for asking people to wear a mask. They are costing the economy. They are costing lives. The sheriff of the county I live in publicly announced that his forces wouldn't be enforcing the mask mandate because the police have a bad reputation right now. This is the same sheriff that has also publicly said he'd refuse to accept the terms of the police reform bill passed by my state. I'm sure the reputation is at stake because of masks, though. It's August, and we still do not have a national mask mandate. That time was 2 months ago. At least. Republicans argue you shouldn't be allowed to terminate your own pregnancy because life is sacred, but you can kill people by infecting them for no reason, and point out their stupidity whenever possible. My wife and I said something to the one guy at our grocery store yesterday who had his mask pulled down under his mouth. He obviously had it on correctly to get in and then pulled it down. My comment was to the effect of, it's not that hard to wear the mask correctly. Just use every single other person around you as a guide. My wife just looked at him and said, "Oh come on, are you serious?" The more of us that openly point out their stupidity, the more pressure they will be under to wear the damn mask. Open face masks are glory holes for dem semen. The Venn overlap between people who won't wear masks and people who don't believe in man-made global warming and think vaccines are a government ploy is huge. The anti-science/intellectualism in the US is disgusting. _edit_. If you're going to reply with a variation on "it's a circle," several other people already did that. The reason I didn't is because I know a lot of people who are pro-environment but are anti-vaccine. They're hard left. You don't have the freedom to run over red lights. You don't have the freedom to drink and drive. You don't have the freedom to invade someone else's property. You don't have the freedom to not pay taxes. You don't have the freedom to drive without a license. You don't have the freedom to do whatever the fuck you want in this free country. Your right ends where the other people's rights begins. That's the social contract that everyone, willingly or unknowingly, have to follow. Freedom means responsibility. If you aren't responsible, you will have to be held accountable. For anyone arguing that it violates your rights. Actually it doesn't. Here's some applicable constitutional law. The 10th Amendment grant the states police powers. Police powers definition: the ability to regulate for the health, safety, and welfare of citizens. The U.S. Supreme Court addressed the issue of public health regulations in the case Jacobson v.S. Massachusetts. Direct quote from the case. A community has the right to protect itself against an epidemic of disease which threatens the safety of its members. Here's another interesting tidbit. The liberty secured by the Constitution of the United States to every person does not import an absolute right to be wholly free from restraint. There are restraints to which every person is necessarily subject for the common good. Maybe getting a ticket for refusing to wear a mask should have an effect on a person's health insurance premiums, much like a traffic ticket does on car insurance. Find all the Ralphs. https://i. Imager.com/hspu10. JPG. Not just fines, but escalating fines, maybe even treated like DUI. I feel fortunate to live in a country at the moment where anti-science propaganda hasn't driven half of the population fucking insane. Not only for people not wearing them but also for people not wearing them properly. The mask needs to cover your nose and mouth, not one or the other. Now that the economy exploded, and now that everyone is out of work and facing eviction, there are better options than fines. For instance, there are plenty of other countries that are appealing to people's civic pride. https://indianexpress.com/article/India/coronavirus mask fine 6492638/ by mandating that those who refuse to wear a mask have to volunteer for hospital work. Edit, guys, seriously, the main component of this concept is that it works as a deterrent. Beyond that, I've worked in hospitals. There is plenty of oversight and more than enough crap jobs that don't require direct patient or staff contact. A perfect example of masks are mandatory is up north. New York, Massachusetts have a protocol that if you don't wear a mask you will be fined, and that made everyone wear a mask immediately. The fines are $700 and no one want to risk losing that amount of money. By having people wearing masks, the COVID-19 cases has flattened and there are few new cases but not exponential. This made family-owned business and other businesses to slowly open back up. The South is the one that makes it more politically and not which side you support. It is about, do you care about the safety of your people? Way better idea, continue stimulus payments to everyone except those caught not wearing a mask, or advocating against their use. Legal gray area though. It's high time, and make free masks available to those who can't afford them. Finding someone who is already struggling won't help. Of all of the things I've seen through this pandemic, the flat refusal to do something as simple and unoppressive as wearing a mask has been the most baffling. WTF? There can be no justification for it other than fuck everyone around me. I'm gonna show just how free I am. I agree with Viktor Frankl. Freedom without responsibility is arbitrary assholishness, although he would never state it quite that way. Here's what he did say. Freedom, however, is not the last word. Freedom is only part of the story and half of the truth. Freedom is but the negative aspect of the whole phenomenon whose positive aspect is responsibleness. In fact, freedom is in danger of degenerating into mere arbitrariness unless it is lived in terms of responsibleness. That is why I recommend that the Statue of Liberty on the East Coast be supplemented by a Statue of Responsibility on the West Coast. Freedom has indeed descended into mere arbitrariness. I have an in-law that refuses to wear a mask because it makes her panic and refuses to stay at home because, I shit you not, she is her elderly grandparents' caretaker and she says, "Do you honestly expect me not to go out?" She's going to kill them. It is time for people to start respecting the rights of others instead of being so concerned about their so-called rights. I am retired, moderately high risk, and my wife is very high risk, lung cancer survivor, COPD, etc. In this area, mask wearing is less than 50% despite a universal mask requirement, PA. If she gets the virus, there's roughly a 25% likelihood she won't survive it. She doesn't go out at all anymore since the second wave has made it into our locale, and I go out only when necessary. We live in a rural area on an acreage. We have largely stopped spending money in our local area due to people running around stores and streets without the mask and not being able to observe social distancing. Amazon Prime and Walmart pickup has largely replaced our local shopping. I was looking over our books and would guess that something near $8,000 per year has been diverted out of the area due to our change in spending habits. I hate that, but I won't jeopardize my wife's health so some snowflake can exercise his/her rights. I witnessed an altercation between a snowflake and a store employee at our local grocery store. He asked a woman entering the store, walking past a "You must be wearing a mask to enter the store" sign, to put on a mask. She unloaded on the poor guy who was about my age and probably making a little more than minimum wage. She left in a huff. I made it a point to find the store manager and thank him for the employee's diligence in the face of disrespect. It's a small store and one of the few local establishments I still enter.